Hello, hello. Hope everyone is doing well. This is my summer 2023 wrap up. I took a break from the summer making videos. I could have excuses, but we'll just say I didn't make videos for 3 months. So let's talk about some of the stuff I made. This is probably going to be a long video, and I'm going to stream it because I do not want to edit a really long video. During the summer, which would be June, July, and August, I read 10 novels, 2 middle grade or YA, 4 nonfiction, about 85 short stories, 2 novellas, and about 12 graphics, which would be manga, graphic novels, comics, stuff like that. For the year so far, I have 35 novels, about 7 middle grade or YA, about 13 nonfiction, about 210 short stories, 15 novellas, and about 22 graphics. There are 4 months left in 2023, and I hope to read more novels and actually read more short stories, because I would like to get up to 365 so I can just say that I read as many short stories as there actually was days in the year. I think that would be kind of cool. I would like that. And so, yeah. So let's look at what I read. So I am going to go ahead and use Goodreads and show you guys the things I read. Okay. So we're starting on this bottom line down here. This is probably around the beginning of June. And I read Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. Some Desperate Glory. This one is a science fiction book about different dimensions. And what I remember about this is that the whole idea was really interesting, but the characters weren't fleshed out enough for me. I wanted there to be more focus on the relationships. Instead, there was a really big focus on this shadow space and wisdom element that allowed people to go into these different dimensions and change what has happened. At the beginning, it really reminded me a lot of Orson Scott Card's book. It did kind of turn into like a Handmaid's Tale almost, and then they had a very Spartan feel to it as well. And so these people are the last remnants of people fighting against this alien force who took over humanity. They destroyed the Earth. And so they reset the timeline and the dimension by changing dimensions and have it so that did not happen. But then that caused other issues as well. It was very ambitious. I just wanted it to have more focus on the characters and the relationships. I thought it would have been a lot better book if she would have done that. It wasn't horrible, but I was a little bit disappointed. I hope to read more from Emily Tesh, though. Okay, Uncanny Magazine, issue 52. This was the May and June issue from 2023. Let's see what I liked from this one. I really liked The Infinite Endings of Elsie Chen by Kylie Lee Baker. It's about AI and the butterfly effect. Really good. I really enjoyed that one. All These Ghosts Are Playing to Win by Lindsay Godfrey Eccles. Ghosts are in limbo at a casino where they gamble with their memories. I thought that was an interesting idea. Now, I don't remember these very well, so that's why I'm reading my reviews of them. The Soleil by Yuen Ma. It made me think about who owns the rights to people's memories after death. Want Itself is a Treasure in Heaven by Theodora Ward. You know what? I like almost every story that I read from Theodora Ward. Unique story told about a codependent relationship and depression where the couple experienced their partner's world experience. That one was really good. I like that. I've learned through the last few years of reading short stories. I like these very humanistic, like science fiction stories, less the going around in space and doing things stories, or even novels. Really, I like the focus to be on the people and their emotions, and have some type of science fiction element in play, not necessarily like people on spaceships. Nonfiction was good. There's a lot of well-rounded thoughts on AI and creative content. Hannah Lee, Carolyn M. Yoakum, and Nashawn M. Wannick's essay. And then Sam J. Miller wrote a really good nonfiction piece in this one as well about community. And I think that's definitely worth reading. Let's see, Uncanny number 51. This is the March-April 2023 issue. Let's see what I liked here. A Charlie Jane Anders story called A Soul in the World. A barren woman adopts a human passing alien who is the savior of that alien's race. Perhaps an Understanding by Anna Maria Curtis. This one was really good. They used wooden masks to show emotions, and there's a bunch of artisans, and there's a royal court. So instead of like showing your emotions on your regular face, you would pull out these wooden masks to show the emotion that you actually have. And I thought that was really interesting. It kind of reminded me of how people use emojis now, but in the end, it's always better to use your actual face to show emotions. Blank Space by Delia S. Dawson. This was crazy. A man takes advantage of a young girl. The ending was phenomenal. Bigger Fish by Sarah Pinsker. This is a reprint. A private detective investigates the death of a rich water stealer. There's a lot of AI involved in this. They basically use AI to figure out what happened to this guy, and it's pretty good. Viral success from C.L. Polk with TikTok fame is like a lightning strike. I thought that was really interesting, especially being involved with YouTube all these years. Ruth Anna Emery's On a Scaffold of Story, Parroting Politics and Narrative was very good as well. I read The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. This was at my library's book club. I've been trying to read the book that my coworker picks for the library book club, and this was just okay. There was a lot of lack of communication, and once again, it's used as a plot device, and usually when it comes to general fiction and romance, if there's a lack of communication and it's being used to prop up the entire story, I don't like it. The male character in this, his actions made no sense, and it just was stupid. And there was a lot of focus on getting pregnant, even though I felt the theme should have been more about women empowerment. So this was about a lost apothecary. This woman gives potions to women so that they can, not get pregnant or stop a pregnancy and things like that. And they accidentally kill the husband of this woman. And then in the future, they find the potion, the jar, and there's like a woman that digs up everything from the past. I really did like the historical aspect of it, like somebody trying to figure out historical things. So that was kind of cool. Let's see here. Uncanny Magazine, the 49th issue. This was from last year, November and December. Rabbit Test by Samantha Mills is a phenomenal story and one of the best of last year. I highly recommend it. It is about women's rights, reproductive rights, and it was really good. Unfortunately, the rest of the stories were just okay. Okay, one of the nonfiction books I read, Attached, The New Science of Adult Attachment and How It Can Help You Find and Keep Love from Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. This one was interesting because I felt like I might have been I think, what was it, avoidant attachment? But it was interesting how majority of the examples all focused on talking about the issue as it came up. So if you're in a relationship and there's an issue, you have to talk about the issue as it comes up and not hold resentment, because that changes how you're going to communicate. Basically, it was a good reminder to me to say how I feel when I actually feel it, and I still struggle with that even 3 months later after reading it. The September-October 2022 issue of Uncanny magazine. The ones I enjoyed were Portal Keeper by Levi Tidhar. This is a groundskeeper who keeps watch over a fantasy portal, and he meets all these people from well-known fantasy portal stories, like the Narnia kids and the Alice in Wonderland, and it's very charming. I liked it. There is a novelette from Natalia Theodorodou, which I really liked. It was called The Prince of Salt and the Ocean's Bargain. I'm liking their stories more and more and more. So a man is created from the salt of the ocean and becomes a prince while falling in love with two people. And I just thought it was really well written. Andrea Chapella, As One Listens to the Rain. Lovely story about a drowned city and students studying it and falling for each other. I thought that was really good. And then Radcliffe Hall by Mayuki Jane Pinkard. This was a novella. First one I've ever read in Uncanny, and I liked it. It's about an Asian girl going to a racist girls' school where she falls for another girl, and they try to escape the tragedy of their past, and they try to figure out a murder that happened with a ghost. That was pretty good. Okay, where are we at? Here we go. The Way of the Superior Man, a spiritual guide to mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire by David Dida. What did I give this one? 3 book. Difficult book to rate because some of the thoughts are really good and eye-opening, but a lot of the others were very simplistic gender stereotypes. And I think that it's interesting to me how in the last few years, gender stereotypes have become more of a thing in content and in books, videos online. And I think it's because it gets attention and gets people upset. So I think like gender stereotypes are ridiculous. He focused on energy, but a lot of his beliefs about women can also be expressed for some men. People are complex. The book tries to simplify gender energy and actions, but doesn't completely accomplish that without making some very broad generalizations about the genders. Regardless, it made me understand that purpose in life is more important than I previously thought. And I do want to be a little bit more masculine, to have more masculine energy in my life. But I don't want to become a cliche, you know? The Justice of Kings. This is the first book from Richard Swan, Emperor of the Wolf series. And I thought this was good. It reminded me a lot of like Law and Order. And it's a fantasy book. I'll probably read the sequel next month. I must say there were times where I felt like the writing wasn't that great, and it kind of read like a quest line in a video game. Because like these investigators are asking a lot of questions to the NPCs, the people in the story, but they didn't really talk to each other in a very deep and meaningful way. So I'm hoping that the next book has better dialogue. Another thriller. I tried thrillers like these contemporary domestic thrillers. I tried some this summer. The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. Now, I gave this one 2 stars because of the bipolar representation in this was terrible. It was very obvious from the beginning that he was suffering from bipolar, and the whole book rests upon him having a horrible doctor. I couldn't get over that. There's sometimes things in books you just can't get over. Okay, from last year, the July-August 2022 issue of Uncanny. Strong issue for me, 4 stars. I really liked Family Cooking by Anna Marie Curtis. If I remember right, the girl is trying to make a dish for her family, but her magic keeps getting in the way, and so the dish ends up not making people sick. So she has to get her mind correct in order to make the dish proper. Fate, Hope, Friendship, and Food. I think that's probably Food by Marie Brennan. That was an interesting story about these people that are traveling and they run into these demigods. Remind me a lot of American gods. If you find yourself speaking to God, address God with the informal you by John Chu. This was very popular with the different awards this season. I enjoyed this. It's about a superhero, a guy who meets a superhero at the gym. He's undercover, he's like the Clark Kent at gym, but this guy working out at the gym figures it out, and it was very interesting. Bramblewild by Jordan Taylor, and then there's a reprint from Tachi Hanabushi called The Hurt Pattern that I enjoyed. I don't remember Bramblewild. I want to say that's the one where there is multiple, this Fae marries multiple people. I like that. Let's see, Kaiju number 8. This one is number 7. I'm enjoying this series. I think it's fun, and it's basically your Shonen Jump kind of manga. We have A Work in Progress, which might be my favorite thing I read this summer, from Jarrett Lerner. I thought this was phenomenal. As an overweight boy myself when I was growing up, I think people should really read this. He gets really picked on in school, and he tries to lose weight, and he kind of makes himself sick because he doesn't eat. He's having a hard time making friends. And I just really saw this. I really like this. I saw myself in this book. I don't usually say that much for books because I don't really see myself in a lot of characters, but in this I did. It was they were writing my, what happened to me in middle school. Really good story. I love that he ended up meeting a friend, and his friend kind of didn't even really look at his weight. This was fantastic too. The Book of Joy from Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. It is a conversation between these two people, and they're just talking about joy and what brings them joy, and a lot of it just has to do with being kind to other people and helping other people. Fantastic book. I will read it. I'll listen to this many times probably in my life. I thought it was really good. Some more Kaiju number 8s, volume 6 and volume 5. It's got out of order somehow. Then I started reading Blue Flag again, and I love Blue Flag. Blue Flag is a manga about 4 or 5 friends in school that have crushes and feelings on each other, but none of them really line up with each other. There is a lot of LGBT representation in this, and what I like about this series is that the emotions are very slow in progressing, and they really have to figure out how they're feeling, and it really sums up relationships and how we have to really pick apart how we feel about things and how we feel about people. And I really enjoy this series. Translation state. This was a disappointment read for me from Anne Leckie. I failed to connect to the majority of this book except for the beginning. I liked Ine at the beginning, but then they really didn't do anything later on in the story. I liked Reet, but then Reet kind of gave up his... Oh, I shouldn't say... I liked Reet, but I felt like his character didn't evolve properly. And then the translator, Kaven, I just didn't get it. I didn't like it. There were parts in here I liked, and the end was silly, stupid. Unfortunately, I'm disappointed. My Dress Up Darling, number 2. Once again, this is a very awkward manga to read because they do kind of sexualize a girl in high school. But I liked the story a lot more, and now the characters are forming relationships. I do want to continue the story and continue the manga, even though I feel kind of icky at times while reading it. I read My Best Friend's Exorcism from Grady Hendrix, and I liked this. A lot of nostalgia for the 1980s. The friendship in it was really cool. I think it lost a lot of steam and interest for me in the third part of the book when it should have been really exciting to read. It was actually more exciting to read while the friend was changing, and when the exorcism takes place and stuff, it's not even that exciting. Texas Chainsaw Man number 2, Chainsaw Man number 3. This is a fun series. I am enjoying this, and I will continue to be reading this. Blue Flag number 3. Really great story. Continuing. Tachi and Futaba start to have like this relationship, and I just like it. Okay, The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. I didn't like this that much. It took me a while to get into it. It wasn't until maybe the last third that I kind of liked it. I almost stopped reading it a few times. I realized from reading a lot of books that I don't like the inserts between chapters or like the quotes before chapters. It gets me out of the story and it kills books' momentum, and I felt like this specifically, the inserts between chapters really killed the momentum of the book. And the Old English words were annoying. I reread Brandon Sanderson's Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. I listened to the graphic audio, and it was fun. I read another thriller, contemporary thriller from Laura Dave. This was the book club book from my library. It's called The Last Thing He Told Me, and I just don't think that these contemporary domestic thrillers are my thing. I like mysteries. I like dead bodies and people trying to solve the mystery, but these things where people are running away or trying to figure out if their wife or their husband killed people, I don't know. I'm reading one now too that I don't think this is the genre for me. The entire premise of this book hinges on the memory of a young girl when she was 4 years old, and I did not believe that could be possible. Chainsaw Man number 4. What I like about this series so far is they're not afraid to kill characters. Okay, so we have Asimov's. This is the, let's see, which number is this? The May and June 2023 issue. I really liked the novella, Numeria 7 is Missing by Alan M. Steele. I feel like when it comes to stories like this, like actual science fiction stories, and I'm talking about, space with a ship. I like things to be in our solar system, or things that I can actually see it maybe happening in the future. And I did like this. It's about a lunar vehicle with tourists that visit the moon, and the vehicle goes missing. I also really liked Games Without Frontiers from Andy Dudak. It's a novelette. Revolt of the Algorithms by Robert R. Chase. Sexy Apocalypse Robot by Sandra McDonald. That was funny because there's this woman that's living in this apartment, skyscraper thing, and she lusts after this guy, and she finds out it's a robot, and they end up having this relationship. It's very interesting. The world building was surprisingly really good. Boomerang by Bill Johnson and Gregory Frost. I thought it was a good issue from Asimov. We have Fantasy and Science Fiction, the May and June issue from 2023. I loved this one. It's called Amrit by Karen Kawarsani. Amrit is a robot personal assistant, and he is the assistant to a gentleman named Fox Singh. And Fox is that curmudgeon type of character, and the robot kind of makes Fox remember what the important things are in life. It reminded me a lot of the Frederick Bachman book, Ove, the Ove book, but in this one it is a robot personal assistant that helps him and not the neighbor. So I like that one. Highway Requiem by T.R. Napper. A truck driver is struggling to provide a living for himself as the world changes around him. This is a close near future story that was a little scary about how things might devolve. And the truck driver is trying to deliver his load, and it's not good, but it's a great story. I also liked Naughty Girl by Melissa A. Watkins. This is a Rapunzel retelling that I really enjoyed. On the Mysterious Events at Rosetta by Fawaz Matrouk. This is a mummy, a curse story that was told kind of like Dracula, like epistolary. The Dire Delusion by Matthew Hughes, a novelette that I enjoyed. This is a story about thieves who have memory problems, and they find out that the thieves are losing the things that they're stealing, so someone is stealing from the thieves, basically. Time and Art by Barbara Krasnoff. This one was good. A woman goes and trades some of her years in her life for more time to do the things that she really loves. It really asks this question, would you trade some years at the end of your life to give you extra time outside of normal time to do the things that your heart's desire wants to do? And it just reminds you that you have to do what you want to do, and what your heart's desire is right now. Then I read Clarkesworld magazine, issue number 199. This is the April issue. Let's see what I liked here. Reunion by L. Chan, I liked. Rake the Leaves by R.T. Esther. Keeper of the Code by Nick Thomas. Happiness by Octavia Cade was probably my favorite story in this. And then I also liked The Librarian and the Robot by Shi Hei Yao. Happiness by Octavia Clave. Let me just look this up real quick so that I can remember. Oh, so this was kind of written like a choose your own adventure story. You have to choose what happens during your life, but I ended up just reading it straight through. And I really, really liked this because it had this really interesting format. But what the theme really was about climate change and how even though you're trying to live this perfect life, the climate is changing and a dystopian type world is forming around you, and you have to adjust and make choices based off of what is happening in the world. And I thought this was one of the best climate change stories I've ever read. Blue Flag. This is the 4th volume. I'm actually currently reading the 5th volume right now, actually. I've been reading manga, graphic novels at work during my break. Tashi is a little annoying in this one, but Futaba is amazing. She's become my favorite character in Blue Flag. If you like Heartstopper, you should be reading Blue Flag. I finally read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I thought it was fabulous as well. I thought it was written really well, and I liked how Reid kind of took the characteristics of a lot of the movie stars from that day to create a character that I actually had to Google to see if they were a real character, like a real person. But yeah. Clarkesworld, issue 200, the May issue from this year. I really enjoyed this issue. The Naomi Kritzer story, Better Living Through Algorithms, was phenomenal. It is a hopeful story about what would have happened if people actually made the algorithms and the social media in a way to help people's lives instead of trying to make money. And it was fabulous. I really enjoyed it. I also liked the novella from Susan Palmer. This one is called To Sail Beyond the Botnet. Fantastic novella. I think that one will probably be on some lists next year. It's the 3rd story, I think, of the Bot 9 series. Lol, Said the Scorpion by Rich Larson was good. Sensation and Sensibility by Parker Ragland was good. The Giants Among Us by Megan Shea. Action at a Distance by Anne Howe. And The Fall by Jordan Chase Young. Without a doubt, issue 200 is one of the best issues of Clarkesworld I've ever read. I listened to How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis, A Gentle Approach to Cleaning and Organizing. I thought this was good. It's like 3 to 4 hours long. It reminds you that care tasks like cleaning are morally neutral. Like, you're not a bad person if you don't clean. An imperfect life is a really well-lived life. And it's okay to not be perfect. Functional is actually more important than perfect. I would read this again. I thought this was great. And then the last thing I read for the summer was Clarkesworld issue 201, the June issue. I really loved Imagine, Purple-Haired Girl Shooting Down the Moon. This is a novelette. And this was, I didn't put who that was by. Angela Liu. Yes, Angela Liu. I thought that it was phenomenal. It was very dark, extremely sad, a lot of trigger warnings, not much hope, but I just could not turn away from this story. I was enraptured with this story, and I loved it. I also really liked Vast and Trunkless Legs of Stone by Carrie Vaughn. This is a first encounter story about meeting an alien race of map makers. I usually do like stories from Carrie Vaughn, and I also like stories from Isabel J. Kim. Day 10,000, very interesting story about how they took the DNA of someone that died in a crevice millennia ago and cloned them and brought them back, and they're talking with other people. It's such an interesting story. And then the Officiant by Dominica Fett Place. I enjoyed that one as well. These magazines, not every story is amazing, but most of them are interesting and good. And then there's some that I really like, and then there are some that I love. And that's why I love to read short fiction, because you never really know what you're going to get. You can get something that you just don't care for, but then you'll get something that you just absolutely love and something that you connect to. All right, so that is my reading wrap up for the summer. I just wanted to put this out there because I wanted proof that I read these things, and so that I have a list of things that I've read throughout the year. I did really well up until June, and then I slacked off. And so what I hope to do in the future is I am thinking about changing things once again and doing some reading streams, some Pomodoro reading streams, doing some review wrap-up things maybe once a week, stuff like that. Okay, if you watched this, you are amazing. If you didn't watch it, not a big deal. I know this was a long one, but I wanted to have an actual record for the things that I read during the months of June, July, and August of 2023. So I will talk to you all later. Thank you.